Led Zeppelin, the band that redefined rock. But what do the greatest musicians of all time really think about them? From worship to brutal honesty. Today we uncover the truth. Hey legends, today, we are diving into the unfiltered opinions of rock gods about Led Zeppelin. Some called them geniuses, and others not so much. Let's break it down. Let's kick things off with a legend who needs no introduction. John Lennon. While the Beatles and Led Zeppelin dominated the late 1960s, Lennon's opinion on Jimmy Page and the band is surprisingly cheeky. Let's break it down. John Lennon's quote, "They sound alright. Jimmy Page has always been a bloody good guitar player." Alright, Lennon, you were holding back. But here's the tea. Bloody good. Is massive praise coming from a Beatles subtle shade or hidden respect? You decide, but one thing's clear. Page's genius was undeniable. Next up, Roger Taylor, the drumming powerhouse of Queen, drops a nuclear take on Led Zeppelin's John Bonham. Spoiler, he calls Bonzo on Steve Rollard 1. And you'll hear exactly why. Taylor's quote, "The greatest rock and roll drummer of all time was John Bonham, who did things that nobody had ever even thought possible before with the drum kit. When the levee breaks is the archetypal heavy drum sound. Parent, it's never been bettered. Parent, it's like a steamroller. Enormous bass drum." Let us unpack Roger's glowing tribute. Steamroller. That iconic levee beat was recorded in a stairwell for that earth-shaking Mariner. One bass drum. Bonzo didn't need double pedals, and his speed was supernatural. Made on big bands like this. Now let's hear from a modern rock icon who acts obsessed with Zeppelin's raw power. Jack White of the White Stripes, known for his stripped-down blues rock, White drops a nuclear take on Zeppelin haters. Brace yourselves, Jack White quote, "Led Zeppelin is an immovable force in music. I don't trust anyone who does not like them." Let's dissect Jack's unapologetic take. Immovable force. Zeppelin didn't follow trends. They created them from blues to folk, metal, and they shaped rock's DNA. Don't trust them. White's calling out the snobs who dismiss Zeppelin as constant too mainstream. Newsflash. Genius isn't niche. Fun fact, the White Stripes. Ball and Biscuit is a direct homage to Page. Swagger coincidence? No. Into your air guitars. Folks, up next, Dave Grohl, the nicest guy in rock, drops a bombshell about his obsession with Led Zeppelin. A spoiler. It involves permanent ink and God-tier devotion. Dave Grohl's quote, "I have Led Zeppelin tattoos. I worship this band like no other. I have listened to Zeppelin probably more than any other band on the planet." As to code Grohl's ultimate fanboy energy. Tattoos, rumor has it, he's got the Zoso symbol and Bonzo's 3 circles. Talk about commitment. Listen more than anyone. Grohl's drumming in them crooked vultures, pure Bonham, worship like no other. From Nirvana to Foo Fighters, Zeppelin's DNA is in every riff, he writes. Next up, Pete Townshend, the windmill-chopping genius of The Who, drops a bombshell about Led Zeppelin. Spoiler, he respects them, but doesn't feel them. Let's unpack why 2 rock titans didn't fully connect. Not one of their biggest fans, which doesn't mean I don't like them, but I don't really get into their music a lot. Let's dissect Townshend's polarizing take. Not a biggest fan. The Who's raw, mod energy versus Zeppelin's blues mysticism. Phil Orange's Monstern and get into them. Townshend punkish rebellion clashed with Page, a culture tree. Fun fact, both bands ruled 1969 paired. The Who dropped Tommy. Zeppelin unleashed 2 different paths. Same legendary style. Up next, the demon of screamin' himself, Aerosmith's Steve Tyler, dives into Zeppelin's blues on steroids formula. Spoiler, he crowns Jimmy Page the unchallenged king of riff alchemy. Let us crank it to 11. Steve Tyler's quote, "Led Zeppelin took the blues and rocked it out. And Jimmy Page did it in such a way that no one did anything like that, or even came close." Fake, letters break down Tyler's bluesman truth bomb. Took the blues, Page didn't. Just played blues, he weaponized it. No one came close. Even Aerosmith's train kept her rolling. Cover bows to Page raunchy tone. Fun fact, Mahler once called Page the sorcerer, who turned muddy waters into a thunderstorm. Hold on to your picks. Deep Purple's Richie Blackmore, a guitar legend himself, just dragged Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck into a no-holds Bard riff showdown. Is this rock heresy or cold hard truth? Let's crank the drama. Richie Blackmore's quote: Jimmy Page is a three-dimensional guitarist. He has range and ideas, but he lacks improvisation. Jeff Beck, a brilliant guitarist, but he can write songs. And write songs is always somebody else's tune. Let's dissect Blackmore's savage take. Page 3, genius, producer, songwriter, riff, lord, but improvisation. Blackmore claims Beck's spontaneity wins. Beck's bella, master of feel blow by blow, but relied on covers. Page wrote Kashmir, Game Over. Fun fact, Page and Beck almost formed a supergroup in the Galm 60s. Until egos clashed. What could have been? Next up, the late great George Michael, the pop royalty with a filthy rock and roll soul drops a scorching hot take on Led Zeppelin. Spoiler, he compares their music to Vehemwagult activities. Let's turn up the heat. George Michael's quote: Led Zeppelin are my favorite rock band because they sound like people who know how to have sex. Oh, let's decode George's sinful metaphor. Sound like sex. Plants, fucks, and whole lot of love. Pure primal growl. Page riffs. The rhythm section of Find Well You Know. Studio magic. Zeppelin's Dazed and Confused isn't just somnolent. It's audio foreplay. Fun fact, George, I Want Your Sex was inspired by Zeppelin's raw energy. Coincidence?